No.
We are live. God, tonight I gotta renew my subscription for XSplit.
Yeah. Hey, good luck with that.
Should just switch to OBS.
Good luck with relearning all of that.
OBS is actually pretty easy. I just like setting up this scene that that XSplit has. I just have such an easier time getting the stuff I need to get set up. And I know you can do it in OBS, it's just...
I fiddled with the OBS once on my laptop, which could barely run Skype and Audacity at the same time, so
yeah.
You can imagine how far that went.
Right. Yeah, OBS was fine. OBS Studio, which is the most recent, like the latest version, that thing is really solid. They rewrote the code base, and it's way better now. Oh yeah, I gotta do questions. We got that. We've got that.
I need to set up a second monitor like as soon as I can.
Yeah.
But hey, car license next. So.
Yeah. Ah, crap. Who asked that? That was T-Bomb Rocks.
Because, you know, when I actually get a car, it means I'll be able to leave the house and do stuff.
Yeah, we, I don't think I actually talked about it. I've had real bad luck with our pets lately, so, I took Scuttle, for anyone watching, that's our orange cat, into the vet, because he was, he looked and felt really skinny, to the point where, like...
For the record, we're missing the pre-show thing, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I haven't been doing that lately. Where is that? Oh, I don't have it. Oh, well, I'll have to do that between episodes. I'll do that tonight, live, on Hanging with Mr. Boston. So I took him in, and he'd lost, like, 2 pounds over the last 2 months. So the vet was like... Our vet is really great. She said, okay, there's clearly something going on wrong here. Let's run some tests, and we'll try and figure out what's going on. So she ran some tests, and I had to bring him in because he was having not only diarrhea, but it was bloody. I was like, all right, buddy, let's go back in. So she showed us this whole lab result, and it's all these, like, you know, $10 words with like a sliding bar next to them, and all of them were great except for this one value. It's supposed to be like 2,000 is like the sweet spot. It was like 43,000 or 4,300, and I was like, oh. She said, well, it's one of two things. She said, one, it's a parasite infestation, which is easy. You give them a couple pills, you're all good. The other thing is it's lymphoma.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, well, that's quite a swing. And she said, yeah, so we're going to do one more test and try and figure out which one it is. It's like, okay. But to piggyback on your other topic, it's the pre-show.
Damn it.
Almost.
I'll get it to work.
To piggyback on your other topic, I don't think I talked a couple weeks ago when we put our dog down.
Yeah, you did not.
So, and part of that is because when she was alive, she had such bad separation anxiety because we rescued her from some, let's just call them relatives. They were physically and verbally abusing her, and this was like another strain, like the third person that had been physically abusing her. And part of a side effect of that was separation anxiety. So I really couldn't leave the house when the dog was here, which is all the time. Pre-show.
I can't tell if it shows up.
It's showing up, yeah. So it was the unfortunate side effect of, like, I'm trapped in the house all the time because of this dog. Yeah. Unfortunately, we had to put her down because with Bassets, because, you know, they nature is cruel and made them wrong. They usually suffer from like back problems and nerve issues and slip discs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So one night she came out from, you know, I would take her to go to the bathroom at like 2 in the morning. One night she came in and she couldn't put weight on one of her back legs. So we took her in the doctor, and it's like, yeah, you know, it feels like muscle, or it could be like she pulled something in her back, so just like have her try to relax for the next couple of weeks and let's see how it does. Wasn't getting better after a couple of days. And then one night when I brought her in to go into the bathroom, both of her legs were paralyzed, just completely. So at that point we had to put her down. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's pretty terrible we had to put a pet down, but now everybody has a lot more freedom because we don't have to worry about this horribly abused dog freaking out because you're not at home. And
yeah,
since she was a basset, you couldn't really leave her in the backyard because then she does that, you know, that thing for hours on end. It's like, I don't want to do that to my neighbors. All my neighbors are dicks, but like nobody deserves that. For like 5 hours on end, just
yeah, lawnmower guy.
yeah, whoever that is, whoever you are.
Oh no, that sounds a bit like Louise. Like, I feel sorry for the poor thing. Like, she's probably sitting right outside the room I'm in right now, waiting for me. But no, she's kind of the same. Like, she is such a cuddle bug because she just wants to know that you're there.
Yeah.
And I think she's cuddling with Jess more and more because I'm working all of the time. Like,
right. Minimum 12 hours a day.
Yeah. And then it's like, by the time I get home, I've got stuff I need to do. Taking care of all that stuff, then I sit down and play some games, and she's like, I don't know if I want to cuddle with you because you just keep leaving me alone all day.
Yeah, you keep moving too much, man.
Yeah. But no, she's not too bad, though. She does wake me up every morning, though, by jumping on my face and being like, come and feed me, because Jess is genius in this matter. Since I moved over here, I have been the one who feeds the cats. So now when they get hungry, they leave her alone. They bother me instead. So of a weekend, if I happen to want to sleep in for a little while, I can't because the cats will assault me.
Or like you try and close. What people don't understand about cats that so frustrates me is like, well, I closed the door so they wouldn't bother me at night. It's like, yeah, but cats have to patrol their territory. So if you leave a door closed that you normally leave open, they're gonna be upset because they can't patrol it and make sure that like their domain is okay.
Yep.
So that's when people like, you can't close your door now because then they're just gonna like bat 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 bat, try and wake you up.
That's Sherlock.
The thing Scuttle does that drives me crazy is like, I don't get to sleep in that much anyway. Like nobody does because we have a kid. But you know, if he's one of those cats that freaks out if he can see the bottom of his food bowl, even if it's just like he's caved in the middle and there's so much food, but there's like this much Sherlock. You can see. Yeah. So what he'll do is like in the middle of the morning, I just see this paw just like, and like he's not using his claws or anything, just like tapping me a little bit, and then he'll just like shaky paw like, just like, bro, you gotta go, dude.
The thing with Louise is she will jump on your chest.
Yeah.
And sit there and purr in your ear. And then if that doesn't work, then she starts cleaning you to try and get you to wake up.
Oh, no.
And she is obsessed with the beard. She doesn't like it so much now that I've been oiling it. But she's obsessed with, like, hair. So she'll lick your eyebrows. She'll lick along your hairline. She'll lick your beard if you haven't been oiling it. Like, she just goes absolutely bonkers for it. And then you wake up and you've got a red raw patch on the side of your face. Like, I had it for a while, like, right here. I had, like, a really bad irritation, and I didn't know where it was from. It was... Hello, Jet. It was because I was falling asleep on my left. So my right-hand side of my face was in the air, and that was the bit she was deciding every morning to just assault. And it's just like, really?
Going to town.
Come on.
God, I love cats.
Me too.
Cats are really the only animal I like.
I like all animals, but cats are my favorite.
Yeah. I don't really... I see a lot of other animals, and it's like, yeah, but it's not a cat.
I did see you freak out about the cheetah, though, that was getting walked.
Oh my god. I didn't even talk about this. Holy shit. So, we were at there's two zoos near us, which is kind of confusing. The San Diego Zoo, which is downtown, which anywhere downtown coming from a suburb is a nightmare to get to. And it would take me at least an hour, and it sucks. And I hate driving downtown. So they have the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, which is relatively close to us, and it's all back roads. Like, it takes me about a half an hour to get there, and I don't even have to get on the highway. It's great. But it's a little bit smaller, and they don't have penguins, they don't have, they don't have bears, they don't have rhinos, some of that stuff.
It's Safari Park, so yeah.
Yeah, instead they have like elephants and giraffes and flamingo and sort of all the stuff you would want to see. And they have some cute baby tigers. So I go there, and most of the time we have a membership, so I can go for free at any time. I go like Tuesdays and Thursdays a lot, and it is dead.
That's the best, especially like speaking as a formerly unemployed person when I wasn't legally allowed to work. It was the best thing about like my wife having her own days at the apartment where we used to live.
Yeah.
Was over Wednesday I would leave the house at 2, cycle for an hour to get to the local theatre chain. It was an AMC, big huge recliners, $10 tickets. Nice. It was like, nobody else in here but me. What do I want to watch this week?
Yeah, exactly. So we were there, and I think and the other reason I do it too is because I've gained some weight since we've had the kid. Being a stay-at-home dad is really good for your kid, and it's not good for your waistline. So now that I can go longer between when she needs to eat, it's a lot easier to go somewhere and be there for like 3 hours and just bring her some snacks. So I'm going there, and I'm getting like some days like 11,000 steps, because of course I have a Fitbit, because everyone does.
Excuse me?
I really like them, but their Fitbits are weird. So like I'm getting like between 8 and 11,000 steps, which burns 2,000 some calories. And it was especially dead when I went there last week, and I had ducked into, it was really hot, so I ducked into like this, they had this like seating area that was covered. I was just gonna sit there for a couple minutes with the baby and have us both cool down, and I had my back to the entrance, and there's like a cart path right next to it, and I heard someone behind me say, sorry, excuse me, sir, I'm just gonna walk a cheetah past you real quick. And I was like, okay. And I was just like, fucking what? I turn around, they have a cheetah on a leash just walking by. And like they have their little dog companion, because I have recently learned out cheetahs pair well with dogs and not other cheetahs.
Yep.
So it was like a cheetah, a full-grown, like fully adult cheetah, and its dog companion less than 6 feet away from me. And I was just like, very quietly, because I didn't want the cheetah to be like, I don't like that dude.
Yeah.
They are probably my second...
Man and daughter eating.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I guess her too. But like, I think they're my second favorite big cat, so to quote-unquote get as close as I can to one of my favorite big cats, then that was so cool.
What the fuck is your favorite big cat then?
The serval.
The what?
Those like exotic like F3 or F2 cats that people have like as house cats?
No.
They're like really let me see. If you want to Google it, it's just Serval. That's the
okay.
It's basically like just a super huge house cat. If you want to Google it, it's just Serval. Oh man, what is echoing on for me? It's Mixer. Go figure.
Okay, I see them.
Yeah.
They look weird though, dude. I'm not gonna lie, they look really weird.
I know, that's why
they
I love
got
them.
Tiny little heads and huge bodies.
I know. Isn't that so cool? And I actually got to see my wife and I. She had a day off a couple weeks ago. It was like a Monday or a Friday, So we said, well, we go to the safari park all the time. Let's go to the actual zoo, and let's go to, like, the big zoo. We get into there for free, too. So we went there, and as soon as I turned the first corner, they had, like, an exhibit area where it's like, I'm going to bring out a turtle, or, like, here's an eagle. Yay. Kids can ask questions.
Yeah.
It was a fucking serval. And I was just like...
Of course it was.
What? It was so cool.
Yeah. I don't mind big cats, but wolves are the best. I've always loved wolves.
Wolves are cool.
I've always had a weird affinity with wolves. Especially when you consider my nickname is Moon, which
That's true.
has
Hello.
an association with wolves too.
Do they have them at the zoo? Their gestation period is 9 weeks. That's interesting.
What, wolves or servals?
Wolves. Well, now I have to do serval gestation period. Probably like 2 years. 74 days.
You are going down a weird rabbit hole.
Yep. I love cats. Cheetah, jaguar. Jaguars are alright. Yeah, that's fine.
I have to ask, do you have one of those stickers on the back of your car where it's like man, wife, young daughter, and then 18 cats?
That'd be great. Little stick figure cats.
They are my favorite ones because whenever I see them, I think I did see one which was like a little stick figure guy, a little stick figure woman, and then literally like 8 stick figure cats right next to it. It's like, okay,
you're living a good life over there.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've given peeps time to hop on here. Are you ready to get this show on the road?
Yes.
I will ask you to pull down your pre-show signage, though.
Oh, okay. I need to get rid of my pre-show.
Now that we're just in show.
Now that we're in the actual show. Okay.
Tonight on Hang with Mr. Boston, I'll have to fix that up. All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpier.
Hello.
I don't think we really have anything to talk about here at the beginning. The new Game Club game is Mummy Demastered. You should check that out. Seems like I haven't even checked on how long to beat, for how long that will take to finish. A Mummy Demastered, 6 hours. That's not too bad. You've got 6 hours. So Mummy Demastered comes out at PC, PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch. That's our game. We have like 3 more weeks to do it, so 2 hours a week. So. That's not so bad.
No.
But without further ado, Moonpier, what have you been playing this past week?
Oh, okay. I'm trying to debate the order because I write them all down and then I try and figure out the order what I'm going to do. So let's go from dumbest to not dumbest.
Okay. I like it.
Starting with Fortnite. I don't know what happened. I think midweek I was just in a bit of a weird rut. So I thought, I'll play some Fortnite now that the Christmas event has finally finished. So let's see what event they've got on now. They have the Mutant Storm event, which is the first event they ever did. So I think they might just end up going in a cyclical nature.
Right.
They've added so much to that game. And I'm not even just talking about like the Battle Royale mode because if it's not a player unknown Battle Royale, I don't want to play it.
Right.
So I just jumped in, did some of the standard co-op-y stuff. That game's really like still an awesome game for just like jumping in, listening to some music. I'm playing it by myself with randoms.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how fast did matchmaking happen? Like I guess that if you can estimate, how healthy do you think the community is on the non-Battle Royale side, if you could tell?
Still seems really high, and especially considering I jumped in into probably about 5 or 6 games, 5 or 6 missions, and I wasn't waiting more than a minute I wasn't even waiting 30 seconds for any of them.
That's great.
And they were all level appropriate as well, for me personally. I mean, if you're fresh jumping in now, it might be a little quieter, but
sure.
Everything around about my level, it was running fine, and I got everything I needed to do, did a couple of missions, had some good time, They've introduced another like 4 currencies into that game because that's exactly what it needs.
Super Platinum, Llama Platinum.
Event Gold or Seasonal Gold, which expires when a season's finished.
Okay. That one sort of makes sense.
And Daily Coins, which every daily quest you do gives you daily coins. And you can buy things from the daily and the event shop using said currency. Daily, not too bad, but the seasonal seems very grindy, considering I was getting 80 gold at the end of a mission, and the cheapest item was like 1,200. It's like,
Yeah, but I mean, I guess if you're still playing it like enough to get the daily, and it's maybe it's sort of like Marvel Puzzle Quest, where it's like it's 1,000 hero points to get a new slot. That's crazy. And it's like, yeah, but I'm playing a lot every day, so it's not as bad as it seems.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's just I ain't going to be playing Fortnite every day.
Right. Well, you have a lot of other stuff to take up your time.
Exactly. But no, I mean, the game still controls well. It's still fun. It's still got a really cool art style. I don't know what it was. I just thought, let's check it out again, see how it goes.
Yeah.
So no, that's actually still surprisingly good. Like, I understand their development of the Battle Royale mode in there, and I also understand it's made them gangbusters of money.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like, I don't really care about it, whatever. It's there. If you want to play it, play it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's sort of, it's the problem of 2017, where it was an embarrassment of riches, where any other year Fortnite would have come out and been like, well, great, now I have my multiplayer game for the year. Like, this thing is incredible, and it does something cool and new. And it's like, yeah, that's great, but I have like 40 other games I need to play first, so sorry.
Yep, exactly. So, I mean, it's all okay. It's just one of those things where it's just like, I felt like a brainless game. I put a headphone in, I listened to a podcast, I shot some zombies, whatever. I can't even remember what they're called now. Mist monsters, whatever. I shot them, I built stuff, there were successful missions.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that the lead female robot voice actor is Ashley Birch.
Oh, probably.
I think. But no, it's still a fun game. Randomly today, for reasons I don't know why.
A sensing a theme.
Yeah, my wife was playing The Division with 2 people who have been playing The Division for a while. So, squad of 4. I thought, yeah, let's jump in. Let's see how things go. Yeah, that is a problem.
This is funny because I just installed The Division because I'm thinking, well, if I'm so unhappy with Destiny 2, maybe I should actually play The Division for once, since I've owned it for a while and never have.
Yeah, you really should play The Division. Ideally, you should play it on Xbox One, but I know you're not going to, so see you.
Let's look at how much it is on Xbox One. Because all I have is, that's $26.50. That seems like a reasonable price. Interesting. I've never played it at all, and I just own the standard thing, so, purchasing it on another platform would not be out of the question.
Well, having played that game to death when it first came out, and we hit endgame, and then we hit the Destiny 1 endgame issue of, there's nothing else to do here, I'm going to wait till DLC comes out. Oh look, the DLC's out. Sorry, I'm busy playing other things.
Yeah, now all 3 DLC packs are out, I believe.
All 3 DLC packs are out, and it is also into Season 2 of DLC, which is all free.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah, and they just came out. The reason I installed it was I saw that patch 1.8 came out, and I'm sure it's been out for a while, but I ran across some patch notes, and it's just like 14 pages of like, here are all the things we have massively changed about The Division. It's like, oh, okay, this seems like the time for me to hop in.
Regular enemies are dropping loot that is orange, which is the highest tier that you can get, I believe, or the highest standard tier. and they dropping it in just random combat firefights. My gear score went up 40 points in like 30 minutes of playing the game.
Jeez.
It's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what these ambushes are. I don't know what these 15 additional tutorials I've got are.
Wow.
But it sure seems like they keep working on that game.
Yeah.
I think it was actually just before the Game of the Year stuff, Giant Bomb were talking about it. And they said all games that are going to do this and have this games as a service mentality going forwards, you need an end game tutorial for people who go away and come back months later.
Yep. If they haven't played since an expansion came out, pop something up.
Yep. Well, that's the thing, is that's what they do, but it's just like, this is the thing, this is how it works, this is ambush mode, this is how it works. Go do it. But
That's
the
like
problem
just
is now,
text on the screen.
Yeah. But the problem is now I've got 20 of those, and it's just like, I don't know which one's which. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know anything that's going on. And I'd actually really love to get back into the Division, because, to be honest, it's genuinely a really good game.
Yeah.
Like, it looks beautiful, it shoots well. My biggest complaint is the enemies are super bullet spongy. But other than that, there's really no issues against the game at all for me. Like, I played through the entire thing with my wife and had an absolute blast doing so. I think Heiko as well, but I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember even, you certainly weren't the only one to say when it first launched, like, I had a lot of fun and this game is really good, and then it just ended. It was very similar to Destiny 1, where it's like, cool, I'm really enjoying playing this, but I'm kind of out of content. And, Destiny 1 had some stuff where you could run daily quests and stuff, and I know Division had a little bit of that stuff, but it's sort of like, well, and you don't have anything, they eventually patched in, I think it was like their second expansion, because I've always kept an eye on it. The second expansion, I think, was like, well, here's giant randomized dungeons. It's like, well, that...
Yep.
Great, that's really good. Great. That's exactly what you needed.
The underground stuff is what that is, and you can set limits on it as well, so you can like put modifiers on it, so the enemies are harder and tougher, and you get better rewards and stuff like that. It's still something I'd like to go and explore, but it's one of those things where, do I want to spend 2 hours, teaching myself how to do this right now? Which the answer is no.
Yeah.
But no, the Division, I'm surprisingly still really, really into it. Like, a lot. I wouldn't...
Just the unfortunate time problem.
Yeah, it's that, and also other games take priority.
Yeah.
Speaking of other games, Ollie Ollie.
Oh, yeah.
I heard a lot about this game when it came out. I believe it originally came out on the Vita.
It did, yeah.
And then made the PC jump and the PS3 jump. It came out on Xbox One a while ago, and just based on the past buzz of it, I actually just bought it, and it's been sitting on my hard drive ever since. So I thought, why not? Let's give it a go, see how it goes. I love the soundtrack to it. It's very chiptunesy.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I've heard some of the tracks in other games, though. Specifically, I think it does have a track from Crypt of the Necrodancer in there.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I'm not 100% sure on that. It just sounds very similar.
Yeah.
But no, Ollie Ollie is Tony Hawk.
Like 2D Tony Hawk?
Yep, it's 2D original Tony Hawk, where it's a puzzle score timed run thing, which is, the controls are super tight, the game is really fun, the music's fantastic. It does the trials trick of, oh, you fell over, hit the back button, boop, you're back at the start, go again.
And the levels are really short, which is nice, sort of like some of the Trials levels.
Yeah, it's got a lot of positives going for it, and it's one of those things where I'm just loading it up, doing a run, spending some time on a level or two, and then I'm gonna, I'm gonna do the amateur missions, try and basically do one entire amateur mission, get all the goals done, then turn it off, come back to it a different day, go back, do the pro levels, so on and so forth. But no, I'm actually really enjoying it. It seems like it's relatively dead on the Xbox, probably because of the delay in the amount of time it came out. It was so delayed.
Well, and I think Ollie Ollie 2 came out pretty quickly after that on Xbox. I think a lot of people were like, we'll just wait for the second one and play that instead.
I think Ollie Ollie 2 actually came out on PlayStation before Ollie Ollie was released on the Xbox.
Wow.
Yeah, it's Rock Band 2 all over again.
Yeah.
Which, that's a weird thing for me to say, but over in England, we got Rock Band 1 when Rock Band 2 was coming out over here. Because of reasons. I don't know why, but that was the situation at the time. But, I mean, like I said, I'm loving it. It brings back that feeling of the OG Tony Hawk's, where it's a score run, very limited, you know, resources for you to act on. So you have time or you have one bail, you know.
Yep.
It's really fun. Like, go give it a try. Like, if you haven't played it yet, even maybe try the second one. But
the second one to me clicked with me a little bit better, and the second one isn't drastically different from the first because you didn't really need to mess with it. Like, it looks a little bit better, there's a lot more levels, but it's still that tight control. They didn't really mess with it, which is really, really great.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you need to do when you've got the layout of the game so tight like that. There's not a whole lot you can do. Like, if you're going to sequelize it, do different things, like, you know, bigger levels, different challenges, that kind of stuff, but don't change the core mechanics of it, because that's how you go from Jak and Daxter to Grand Theft Jak.
Ugh, so bad.
I still love those games, though.
That first one is still one of my favorites on the PS2.
Yeah, it's right there with you. After Ollie Ollie, let's talk about possibly one of the most divisive games I've played in a long time.
Okay.
Firewatch.
Ah, Firewatch. I love that game.
I started and completed, including the sweet 1000G checkmark,
nice.
Firewatch this week. It's short, first and foremost. It's really short.
Just a couple hours.
That game is fantastic and terrible, all bundled into one.
Yeah. Yep.
It for me personally, it delivered a good 3 or 4 solid gut punches. Starting off with the game, when you first load the game up and it gives you your backstory, that in itself is a gut punch.
It's like the start of Up, where you're like, all right, I'm going to start this game, and oh no, everything's real sad.
That is the perfect analogy. It is the beginning of Up, where it's like, oh, look, really good art style. Wait, what? What's going
Pixar,
on?
This is going to be, death? I'm crying already. It's 5 minutes in.
Yep. Up is not... I love Up, but I hate that beginning. But yeah, Firewatch does pretty much the same thing. It's here's a story. Isn't this sweet? Isn't this funny? Car boom, straight in the gut.
I do like how they presented it though, because it does give your character a really good motivation for going on this adventure. Because I think otherwise it would be really hard to say, like, this guy in his 30s or 40s suddenly just wants to go work in the woods in a Firewatch tower. Like, that wouldn't make a lot of sense unless he's already doing that job. I think that made it make it's brutal, but it makes it make a lot more sense, which I thought was really smart from a design standpoint.
Yeah, it was. And also I think it kind of sets the theme that basically anybody who's doing this job is damaged in one way, shape, or form.
Yep.
People who are there for a reason, and it's positive or negative, they have issues. Like, whoever's out there, they all have their own personal demons that they're trying to deal with. I do love the storytelling in it. The art style in it is amazing. I can understand why Chevy stole it for one of their commercials.
So good.
That just makes me laugh every time I think about that. But the characters are what brings you through that. It's the main guy. It's Delilah. It's learning all about the history of Steve and Roger, or whoever the two D-bags were that were there before you.
Yep.
Like, the whole storytelling aspect of that game is fantastic. The gameplay is super simple, And I'm not gonna lie, it did give me the heebie-jeebies at one point. It sets that atmosphere really, really well, and very similar to what I'm told Gone Home does, where it heads you down the tropes of one genre and then does a quick left turn, and it's like, no, you're not actually in that genre at all, you're in a completely different genre instead.
Right.
Like Firewatch does something very similar to that, and in my opinion it delivers a lot on its aimings and expectations of player behavior and human relationships. But the game is made by Delilah for me.
Yeah.
Like,
your relationship with her is outstanding.
Yeah. Like, she is the point of that game that makes it so much worthwhile. Especially based on the ending, but I can't talk about the ending because obviously huge spoilers there.
Yeah.
So, late on the train here, if you haven't played Firewatch, go play Firewatch. Turns out it's really, really good.
I love Firewatch so much. My wife and I played through it when it came out, and I actually still have the Firewatch dynamic theme on my PS4 because it changes. The theme changes depending on what time of day it is. So, like, if you're playing at night, it's one of the Firewatch towers, all, like, the top of it, the windows are all lit up, but everything is dark and there's bats flying around. Like, it's real good.
That's actually really cool. That's something Microsoft could learn from, but they need to actually sort out their homepage first.
That would be nice, yeah. Yeah, I think Firewatch is really great. To me, it's right up there with something like What Remains of Edith Finch. I think Edith Finch is a much tighter experience. I had some problems with the storytelling of Firewatch that is sort of like in the last third, so I don't want to spoil it just because everyone should go play it. It's on sale for pretty cheap, and it takes you less than 4 hours to sort of motor through.
Yeah.
But man, I really like that game, and not enough people have played it because they think it's a walking simulator, but it's just good. It has a good story.
Yeah, my wife had an issue with it because I think partially what you might be aiming towards is the fact that in order to discover a certain plot point, you need to pick up stuff and investigate it, which the game is telling you not to do because you are in an urgent situation.
Oh, sure.
So there's little bits and pieces there that she missed, and then I found. And I was curious as to what she was so concerned, what my wife was thinking when she was saying X, Y, and Z makes no sense to her. And I was like, no, A leads to X, B leads to Y, and C leads to Z. I found all these and connected them. Did you not do that? And she's like, no. Stuff was happening that made me want to not be there.
Yeah, game was pushing you.
Exactly. Yeah. So there is a little bit of that going on, but that's such a good experience. Like, it's just genuinely just a really fun experience. And also I stole that boombox and I listened to it all the way back to my tower.
Awesome.
I took the entire thing with me, and every time I talked to Delilah, she was making a comment about how loud the music was because you hold the boombox in front of you and the radio right next to it.
Nice.
So there was a whole bunch of comments about the music.
That's so smart that the game knows that is happening.
Yeah, it even does the mic squeal the first time she picks it up, and it's just like, okay, that music's really loud. It's like,
great.
Sorry about that, I stole a boombox.
Oh, man. That game's great.
Yeah, genuinely is. And Drunk Delilah is hilarious when she starts telling you how... she's like, I don't need you telling me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to do, whether you want me to do it or I do it or not. And it's just like, okay. Drunk Delilah is the best.
Yeah.
And that pretty much brings me on to the last game I've been playing. So, shall we talk about the monster in the room?
Let me live vicariously through you.
Yo, Monster Hunter World. What can I say? I have been waiting for a mainline Monster Hunter game to come to a console I have owned since I played Monster Hunter Freedom Unite way back when in, like, years ago, because I can't remember that far back.
The PSP one?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been waiting that long for a mainline Monster Hunter game to come to a console I owned.
So you play it, I just want to play with my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's here. It works. It's incredible. Like, it's got... Let's get the bad out of the way first.
Okay.
So let's take the Monster Hunter Dung, which is an item you can pick up, and we'll deal with that part first. It still is very Monster Hunter.
Right.
So it has every time you do something new, it gives you a tutorial. It's usually about 2 pages of text long, tiny little text, brief introduction, that's it. It's not enough. It is assuming that you have played Monster Hunter before. It assumes a lot about you having played Monster Hunter before.
Okay.
That doesn't make it a bad game. It makes it a difficult game to get into because you don't know 100% of what's going on. There was a discussion in our Discord channel with Mackie from No Quarters BMF Cast. My wife and I think my wife and I are the highest leveled hunters in the group right now. We said, oh, well, yeah, we can come and help you. You know, at the time, her rank was 4, and she was like, anything below 4, I can help you with. Mackie's response was, how do I know what rank I am?
Good question.
Because it doesn't explain to you what the star ranking is. It doesn't explain to you what you need to do to progress through that. It doesn't do a good job of explaining the crafting system or the forge system or anything along those lines. It jumps to the conclusion that you have played Monster Hunter before,
right,
which is bad, because this is the perfect game for new starters, because it has increased the quality of life changes so much and to such a profound level that it's unbelievable that they haven't done this before now.
Right.
Like, the last Monster Hunter game I sunk real time into was the PSP version. When you wanted to craft things, you had to take them out of your box, put them in your inventory, craft what you needed, put it back into the box to keep them in storage because you only had a limited inventory space.
Oh, right.
In this one, you can craft straight out of the box. Downside is you can't craft out of the box and the pouch at the same time. So you just stick everything in the box and then you craft in the box. Okay. A lot easier that way. But at the same time, the controls are better than I've ever seen them. The game runs silky smooth. It is, for the record, Xbox One X here, and chosen because it gives you the graphical option. I chose frame rate above all else.
Right.
That game looks incredible.
It genuinely looks really good. And it's one of those things where you look at it and you think, yeah, the PC version is going to be, coming out in fall. That's going to be real good. Yep.
I can't wait to see how quickly people break it, because it's a Capcom game.
Yeah.
But no, this is genuinely fun. I'm trying to think of a way to phrase it perfectly, but okay. The first real monster you hunt is the Great Jaggy. That's no surprise to anybody who's played Monster Hunter before, because the Jaggies are a consistent thing. It's the tree boss in Kirby. It's right. That thing that is always at the end of the very first level.
Yeah.
It's the big tree. The Great Jaggy is the same thing. It's a little Velociraptor, is the normal one. The Great one is a bigger version, except it looks different. When you first start playing it, the fight to take one of those down is tough. It's about 15-20 minutes. There's an event on right now, which is hunt 2 Great Jaggies. About 4 minutes each Jaggy now. I can take one out in. So it gives you that sense of the thing everybody talks about with like the OG Fallout and the OG Skyrim and everything like that, where you go to an area and people are hard. You come back, 10 hours later, and you literally are flicking people in the ear and they are flying across the room.
Right.
It does such a good job of giving you that progression. It's understanding how to make that progression is where it's hitting its walls. Like, okay, so for anybody who's listening, pro tip, there's resource managers in your HQ. Go talk to them. They will give you investigations and bounties. Investigations are side missions you can go out and do, and it's just you can do them a limited number of times. So it's, here's a mission to kill 10 of the most basic monster in the game. Go do it. You'll get rewarded 2 bronze items and 1 silver item. You can do that investigation 5 times. Once you've done it 5 times, you can't do it anymore.
Okay.
I currently have 72 investigations unlocked.
Jeez.
Each with the amount of attempts I can do with them, anywhere between 3 to 8. And they vary from hunt the starting animals to hunt the biggest, baddest thing in the forest. However, they also give you the bounties, which is stuff you can do while you're doing those investigations or the side quests or anything like that. So you can do the bounties, get bonus XP, bonus rewards, bonus research materials, and specifically armor spheres, which is how you upgrade your armor. Makes you tougher, makes it easier, makes the monsters do less damage to you, so on and so forth. I don't know how they've done it, but they've managed to make a game that is simultaneously really easy to understand and really difficult to understand at the same time. Like, I genuinely don't understand, because I'm walking in and, like, I'm talking to these people and I'm collecting all these missions and doing all these side quests. It's like, I'm doing this because I know how to do it.
Right.
I know that this is what is expected of me. Other people are not gonna understand that. They're not gonna think that the French lady, the weird snooty dude, and the dwarf-looking fella are actually vital to progression, because they don't have a quest icon above their head.
Yeah, you just sort of have to talk to everybody in town a bunch of times.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they do a good job with quest icons in general, but there's so many additional things that you can be doing, so you're multitasking. Instead of just doing one thing at a time, you're doing 7 or 8 things at a time.
Right.
And it's very difficult to understand that based on the very minimalist approach that the tutorials give to you. And let's talk about the online system, because this is complicated and scary to me personally. So, from what I can tell, it has an SOS system in it, first and foremost, which is actually kind of cool. Like, you fire an SOS flare off, and then people can get that and then jump in and help you.
Oh, cool.
Slight problem. It doesn't work in private lobbies.
Oh, okay.
Okay? Don't know why.
Okay.
It gets even better, because you can have a friends only lobby, or a thanks Japan for doing this, a squad only lobby. Squad is another word for guild.
Okay.
They don't say guild, they say squad, because technically speaking, you're all part of the same guild, which is the Guild of Hunters, who are all about hunting. So you're all in that guild, so they have to call it squads, because law, rather than just call it guilds.
Yeah.
Should have just called it guilds. You can have, I think it's up to 60 people in a lobby at a time. When you post a quest on the board, that goes out to everybody in that online lobby. So everybody in that lobby gets a little notification on the side of the screen that says, this person's just posted a quest. And then it's first come, first serve. 4 people can jump into the quest at will.
Okay.
It's really cool, because, like, I use the same example I did today. I was playing with Mackie, Ian, Balkirk, and Nimp yesterday. I was helping Mackie with one of his hunts. Me and him wrapped up. Mackie went to bed. And then Ian, Ball, and Nimp were all struggling with a very, very tough enemy. So as soon as I wrapped up the quest I was doing with Mackie, I jumped into their quest and ran in and started helping them with their monster. So it was 2 missions going on simultaneously. When one was done, I just jumped straight into the other, and it was great. Like, that's smooth, easy transitions, really fantastically done. But then the problem is when you fire the SOS flare, we don't get that. We can't jump in on that because we're in a non-public lobby. So you need to be in a public lobby to get the SOS flares. I don't understand why. Why couldn't it just operate like any other game and just have them available in the normal lobbies?
Yeah.
Who knows? But no, this game's a problem for me.
Have you played any single player, or are you mostly playing with other people?
I've played a fair mix of both.
My question for single player is, can you pause it when you're in single player?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I really want to play it, but like that's the big breaker for me.
Yeah, it's the problem as well with it. Like, it's part of the problem with the online being built into it with the SOS system now. That's part of the issues. It could, I mean, to be honest, you might be able to play it single player and pause it. I just haven't gone into a game yet where I'm not connected to the internet or connected to that lobby system.
Right.
I haven't.
I mean, it sounds so fundamental to the experience. I don't know why you would. Why you wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, you might be able to. I might do a quick test on it and actually see, like, load it up, just load an offline game and then see if I can do it.
Yeah.
But as far, I don't think you'll be able to, but hopefully you can, because if you've ever been interested in a Monster Hunter game in any way, shape, or form, this is the one to jump in on.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, for starters, everyone seems to be talking about this. Like, everybody.
Yeah.
I am seeing so much discussion about Monster Hunter that where I've never seen it before. It used to be if I say Monster Hunter, Soul Man would respond to me, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now I look at my friends list and I'm seeing Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter. It's shocking to see this amount of people playing what is essentially a super niche game.
I was talking to someone on Twitter yesterday that this is very much like what happened to Yakuza last year, where everyone's suddenly like, Yakuza 0, yeah, there's 2 of them coming out this year. And it's just like, what? It's same with people being like, I don't play a lot of video games, but I just picked up Monster Hunter and it's great. And it's just like, that's awesome.
Yep. I don't know what it is. Like, good for Yakuza for hitting it off last year, good for Monster Hunter for doing it this year. Like,
yep.
Maybe Capcom have come to the realization that it's not a bad thing to release these super specific Japanese games in other areas, because, it's a global economy.
Yeah. Well, and it's, as long as you can make the games at least a little bit accessible, people will figure them out and people will have fun. You just have to make it so it's not like... The frustrating thing about the previous Monster Hunter games is you would get into them and you would immediately see the appeal, but there were so many layers of menus, which I know some people are complaining about with Monster Hunter World, but from what I've seen is really not that bad. But there were so many speed bumps and hurdles in front of you getting to quote-unquote the good stuff in the previous Monster Hunter games, where this one's just like, hey man, hop in with your friends, like, take some missions on, let's go hunt some stuff.
Yeah, and it does. I'll be honest, the game feels a lot less punishing than previous Monster Hunter games have.
Right, like right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate, like, it feels like the monsters have been, like, the damage numbers have been toned back a little bit, because... I mean, even I used to solo Monster Hunter on the PSP, and, like, that was a 5 deaths for every successful kill.
Right.
Whereas now, like, it felt a lot easier going in for the first hunt on this one, and even going up against new enemies that I haven't seen before, I'm not as scared as I would have been in the past, because it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like it has been toned down a little bit to be less stupidly punishing.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. Like, in my opinion, that is a fantastic thing. And the more widespread appeal of this is how easy it is just to be able to jump from, like, one person's game into another person's game. It's like if somebody needs help, send a message. We've got the Discord channel. We've got LFG.
Yep.
You want somebody to help you out with a particularly tough boss. Like, I know Maki suffered against Pukey, which is an actual monster name. And Pukey, even in old Monster Hunter games, was a very, very difficult opponent. Like, it was one of the most difficult starting opponents, and the same is held true this time. And he got through it by changing his weapon, finding a different weapon that suits his style better. He likes the faster combat. That's fine. Play the faster combat style.
Pick up an insect glaive.
I have my giant, ridiculous switch axe, which turns into a 17-foot long sword. So
awesome.
I will take my sharpened coffee table and wail away.
Right.
It's really, really fun. And my personal favorite thing about this whole journey through the Monster Hunter world that I'm playing, I didn't mean for the title of the game to be in there. This whole journey for me has been my wife, who after swearing up and down that she would never play this game. My wife has played this game more than I have. Because A, you can create a female character and have her have a beard.
Awesome.
Which seems like a lot of people are doing, which is fantastic in my opinion.
Yeah.
B, she discovered the bagpipes, or as she puts it, the battle bagpipes.
Okay.
It's basically a giant hammer, except it's got pipes sticking out of it.
Awesome.
And as you swing it, you hit monsters with it, and it does blunt damage. So, pro tip for everybody: if you do blunt damage, you're better against armored enemies, like rock things like that. You're great against them because you do blunt damage. Well, yeah, basically it's a giant hammer, except it has pipes coming off it, and then if she holds the certain button at the end of it, she starts playing music which buffs the team that she's playing with.
That's awesome.
So literally you'll be in the middle of a fight and then all you'll hear is and the way the character holds it is fantastic because everything's oversized. So it's just like this stick that they're pulling along behind them with this huge hammer on the other end, and they're like blowing into it, and all you can hear is the most god-awful bagpipe music.
That's so good.
Coming out as it comes up saying next to you, speed attack bonus up.
Right.
It's like, okay, thank you for that.
Oh,
so she will hit people and then buff them, and she is just loving walking around and generating this whole bunch of music and buffing the parties. Makes a big difference. Like, she stole all of our supplies at the start of one of these missions. There's a supply box which gives you single-use items that you can only use on that mission. She stole them all when there was 4 people in the team, and she stole every single one of our potions and every single one of our things. But it makes a difference because then when she's in the battle, we're all getting damage up, we're getting defense up, we're getting health up, we're getting buffed up the wazoo.
Wow.
Just because she's there, and then all you hear is literally the worst music ever coming from behind.
That's so
it's
good.
It's so funny because she will giggle to herself at the same time that she does it because she finds it so hilarious.
Oh, man.
It's so good. Like, this game, it's captured the essence of Monster Hunter and made it more accessible, which is what I appreciate the most about it.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same game it's always been, but the quality of life is so much better and it's so much easier to get into that it's made the world of difference. Because if this was like the old Monster Hunters, Jess would have never touched this with a 10-foot pole, which is about as big as the weapons are in this game.
Right.
She wouldn't have even gone close to it, but then she discovers palicos, which are little cats that you can go around, which...
I didn't get that pun until I said it out loud the other day.
Palico?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really good. And they're really cute.
They really are, and the best thing is you can choose their expressions. So you can choose what their default expression is. So, of course, my wife made Sherlock, her cat, and he always looks angry, and I made Louise, who always looks cute.
Right.
So, generally speaking, I'm having a blast with this game. It's so fun, so great. If you need anything explaining to you that the game's not explaining to you, hit me up, send me a message. You know, you need help with a specifically hard monster. I do have a squad for the show in there. It's called TVGP. I don't know if it goes across platforms or not. I just know I have it all set up on the Xbox version, so it might be over on that side. As far as I can tell, the only way of joining a squad is for me to directly invite you.
Oh, wow.
Which is a problem. I'm going to see if I can change this later tonight and see if there's any way of making it searchable, but it seems very broken at the moment.
Oh, okay.
So be wary of that. And you can have multiple squads. So you can have 5 or 6 squads, and then you can choose your active one at any particular time.
Oh,
so
cool.
if you see a bunch of us on, you can change to that. If you see somebody else on, different squad, you can join their squad for that particular day. So it works out pretty good. But yeah, hit me up, send me a message. I'm more than happy to ask any questions.
Join the Discord server. There's always a ton of people talking Monster Hunter on there.
Yeah, that's probably me being one of our busiest channels in recent history because everybody's just talking about this game.
Yeah.
So I'm more than pleased with what they've done, and it's so stupid and goofy in the best ways possible.
Yeah.
I slid down a mountain, I jumped off while sliding, did a huge jump, and killed a monster while jumping off a ramp, landing on their back and killing them. And
Awesome.
It was one of the best things I've done in a long time.
Some real action movie stuff.
Yep. I game clipped it, so yeah.
Awesome.
Of course I did, because I immediately put my controller down and was like, yes, I am a legend.
This is the coolest.
It really is. But anyway, yes, that's all I've been playing. Enough Monster Hunter talk for now. I'm sure that will not stop for a year.
Yeah. If you followed me on Twitter, you probably noticed I played a bunch of Forza Horizon 3 lately, and I'm finally done with all of the roads.
Yay!
488. All done. It was... Of course, it was a road that had already been marked off on the map. Yep. I missed basically a pixel. So I had seen a XP board over there. I was like, oh, I'll just go over there and get it. And then the achievement popped up. So I have it, which means I can now worry about the tournaments, which is much more fun. I started one last night, and it was like a supercar tournament, like the highest, the X level cars.
Yep.
And I didn't notice until I started the first race that it was 4 races totaling 62 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So the first race took me a really long time in a car that was doing 200 miles an hour. That was a hell of a trip. So to exact revenge on Forza Horizon 3, I also got all of the roads in the Hot Wheels DLC.
Yeah.
So
I still need to finish the snow one.
Yeah, I've sort of been, now that I'm like back into Forza Horizon 3 for seemingly no reason, I'm sort of looking at the snow one out of the corner of my eye. It's like, oh, yeah, I could play the snow one too. I could drift. It's so pretty.
Yeah, you can. You don't have a choice. You will drift.
I know. It sounds so good. And part of the reason why I'm playing Forza Horizon 3 is, we talked about this on pre-show, that I'm just, my daughter has turned into a demon because her molars are coming in, and at the end of the day, I'm really tired, and I'm not in the mood to read, and I'm not in the mood to do some of this other stuff. I can sort of turn my brain off and like watch something on TV and race for, you know, a half an hour. And great part about Forza Horizon is I've unlocked the fast travel anywhere, so I can just fast travel to the next race, spend another 2 minutes racing, and then just complete a tournament in like 20 minutes. It's great.
It's such a good feature. Like, even when you don't have the free fast travel, you can still fast travel pretty much anywhere. Like, you can fast travel to the start of races. And it's like, okay, that's great. You know, get me to the point where I'm racing faster. That's fine. I will drive around your world at my own leisure. But right now, I want to go. And when I say go, I mean go, 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 and never stop.
Yeah, I'm making like between 30 and 40,000 credits per race at this point. And each one of those warps costs me 1,200 credits. So it's like, you know, there's no way I'm going to run out of money. I have like 4 million credits at this point because I don't need to buy any more cars at the moment. So
yeah,
Forza Horizon 3 is still really great. If anyone hasn't picked it up and played it, it's probably super cheap at this point. Just pick it up and try it. Even if you don't like racing games, I recommend the Forza games, especially the Forza Horizon games, for people that don't like racing games, because if you want to get into tuning your car and all that stuff, you really can. But if you're like me and you just want to like drive the line and have analog brakes on and have it just be a fun racing experience, change the difficulty to do that. You don't get punished for it.
Yeah, that's actually something I did. Like when I went back to it recently, I had it set to really high difficulty. I had my ABS off, I had all the traction control, everything like that turned off. I realized that when you don't play it for, you know, 8 months or whatever, and then you go back to it, that's a little bit too difficult.
Right.
So I just bumped it all the way back down to normal, and it's like, okay, this is great. I'm still making money, the races are still challenging. You know, you can tweak every setting like that as much as you want. It's so good for that.
Man, and now, like, I still have, I think, 30 tournaments to do on Forza Horizon proper, and I've barely scratched the surface of Hot Wheels, so it's, even if I spend a half an hour a day on it, I'm still making pretty good progress. I'm still having fun. I could just race around and do some drift stuff at the very least, or go do one of those, what do they call them, cinematic jumps or stunt jumps or whatever they are.
Danger signs.
Danger signs, yeah, where you just leap off of a bridge at 200 miles an hour and see how far you can go.
Yep.
This game is so good.
F those drift zones, though. Just, no.
They're so hard.
Yeah.
I still have not found a car that I can do those with yet.
I think I've got 2 or 3 specifically set for them, depending on the speed for the zone.
Okay.
Like for the ones with a long gap between corners, you want something super top end, so then you can keep a sideways drift, but we can keep going forwards at the same time.
Right.
It's such a juggling act with those drift zones. I hate them so much.
I'll have to do them someday, but as of right now, I'm good. I'll just keep doing tournaments. I did play a little bit of Destiny 2 because I mentioned at the end of last week's episode that I was trying to do that timed mission, and then I found out right before I recorded it's not actually really timed. So I went back to go do it again, and it was interesting because the heroic modifiers were totally different, and the mission was totally different. It took place in a different area on the planet, which I was not expecting, and actually made it way easier because it gave me much better cover to work with. So I knocked that out, and that gave me the opportunity to start using the Forge on Mercury. There's I think 11 or 12 weapons. Basically, you have a mission, you go out and you go collect some stuff, and then it turns into it randomly picks one of those weapons to give you once you complete a mission. The one I have right now is like, go do public quests on any planet or public events, and then they might show up in a chest at the end of it. I'm not really gonna grind that. I have other stuff to play, so this is probably... I still like going in and playing like the flashpoints every week, but that's probably going to slow down too, because I think my power level is like 317, something like that. Everything I get that's drops is lower than what I am right now.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of at the point where it's either I need to run heroic strikes, which I don't really have the time to do, or I need to do the raid, which I 100% don't have the time to do.
Well, you don't have a spare 12 hours?
You know, I did get an invite from... I'm so sorry I forgot your name, from the community, that hit me up on PS4 and was like, hey, if you want to run the raid, like, our clan does it weekly, and we're always Sherping people, and it only takes... They have it down to where the proper raid itself only takes them about 2.5 hours, which is pretty good because that raid is much longer than some of the stuff they put in Destiny 1.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't really, unfortunately, don't have that time even as much as I really like to experience that raid. So I sort of feel like it's not necessarily a bad thing, but that's probably the end of Destiny 2 for me until the next expansion comes out, which I think is coming out in about 2 months. I'll probably pop in and out once they start. I think they're coming out with another big patch this week where they're putting Masterwork armor in, where it's sort of... They did it with weapons where it's in between Legendary and Exotic. There's a stopgap area. Where for the weapons, it was kind of cool where all of them, if you did multiple kills very rapidly, that drops Orbs of Light for you and your party. Which is very powerful. And it seems like the armor is mostly going to give you an extra slot to do something with. They're making changes. They're some cases very slowly, in some cases very quickly, making some pretty fundamental changes. But like I said, I'm not going to be able to pick up a lot of stuff that's going to make me progress, since I'm sort of at the top end of the power scale here. So I got plenty of other stuff to play, so it's nothing too crazy to say. That's why I bought Destiny 2 digitally, is so that I can just not worry about it for 2 months, and then the expansion downloads, and I was, oh yeah, I'm Destiny 2, and I'll just play that alongside something else. So
yeah, it's the best thing about going digital to me. was just like, oh, I feel like playing this, boop, loading it. Oh, I feel like playing this, boop, loading it.
Yep.
It can be bad though, because you just end up picking 7 games and loading them all and being like, no, different one. Load different one. No, different one.
Yeah, and it also, like, at some point, you know, the consoles are going to go. That's why I bought a copy of This Is the Police on disc for PS4. It was like $7. So I'm thinking, like, man, that's a game that I don't even know if it got any patches. It didn't seem like it really needed to. So if I really wanted to play This Is the Police, I know there's a PC version, but at least I have, like, a disc where it's like, yeah, I'll pop this in and play for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, pluses and minuses. But I started Mummy Demastered. I think my map says I'm like 20% of the way through. I'm on the second boss, which is infinitely harder than the first boss. This game is hard. Thankfully, it doesn't feel unfair, but it is a Metroidvania that. Dimebag315 in chat says, "Where do you get your disc games at, Boston?" I usually wait for sales on Amazon. I'm actually thinking about buying one of those Best Buy Gamers Club Unlimited cards, because you get like 20% off, something like that, on games. That's a lot of money, especially if you're going to buy some stuff, you know, even a month after it comes out, it's $40. You're getting 10 to 20% off. That's still pretty good.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I've heard a lot of people talking some really good stuff about that.
Yeah.
It's just, I can't buy physical anymore, so...
Yeah.
Oh well.
Mummy Demastered is really cool. It is a Metroidvania through and through. It is challenging. It's not like, you know, last year Game Club we played Symphony of the Night. It's much, much harder than that. It never really feels unfair. You know, if you're trying to get too loose with the, you know, moving forward too quickly, or you're not watching enemy patterns or stuff like that, the game's going to sort of punish you a little bit. The bosses are all pattern based, but the thing I think is the coolest is this is based on the most recent Mummy movie, which I have not seen. First off, the music is great. Way Forward obviously does great pixel art, so, you know, it looks great, it plays great, it's very, very tight controls. One of the coolest things is what happens when you die is you play as basically an agent of whatever company, you know, they work for.
Random Goob number 3.
Yeah, well, exactly, actually, because what happens when you die is it goes back to the previous save room. Another agent rappels in from the top of the screen and says, all right, that last agent got taken over by the bad guy. You got to go kill it to reclaim all of your items and weapons, but be careful, they're using the same stuff you were just using.
So it becomes a Shadow Link fight? Sort
of, and they're a little bit dumb, so it's not that hard, but it's kind of cool, because it's not like, you know, it's not like you bust in a room and they're holding like 8 guns. It's like, you know, it's nothing like that. But it's just kind of a cool thing, instead of like, you know, you came back to life and you have all your guns again. It's just kind of a neat little touch where it's you are literally replaceable, and, you know, it's going to use the mythology of the mummy to sort of work against you a little bit, but.
That's my favorite thing about stuff like that, though, is even if it's not 100% necessary, just a nice little touch like that can make all the difference. Like, oh, I love that little touch.
Yeah.
That it's like the good movie or game endings. It's like, if you have an amazing game ending, a game can go from good to great. If you had a terrible one, it can go from great to good. Right. Little touches like that can make games go from good to great, great to good.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little bit of character to it, instead of like, you know, it sort of made sense in Symphony of the Night that Alucard would pop out of a coffin in the save room when you died, and it's like, yeah, I mean, he's a vampire, so sure, yeah, I could buy that, but, you know, having a faceless goon repelling and being like, all right, you gotta go hunt down the last dude, you know, you're number 10, he was number 9, like, you know what you gotta do.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So I'm excited to dive more into that. We talked about it at the beginning of the show that it's probably take you about 6 hours to get through. Probably. I think I'm at about an hour and a half, and I'm about 20%. So it's not... And
it's not too bad.
And so far, a lot of the abilities you get are pretty cool. One of the first ones you get is being able to cling to the ceiling and sort of move like hand over hand across the ceiling. Instead of having a double jump, you just, you know, grab handholds in the ceiling. So that some pretty, like we were talking about with Axiom Verge last year.
Yeah, I was just about to say that exact same thing. It's take the tropes and then change them, and it makes it great.
Yeah, oh, I'm going to get double jump next. No, I can phase through walls. Okay, not what I was expecting, and super cool.
Yep.
So far, Mummy Demastered seems really cool. It is as surprisingly good, I think, as people talked about last year. So, 2 thumbs up so far. And last but not least, Danganronpa 3.
Oh, yeah.
Danganronpa V3, Killing Harmony. I am now... Last week I was in the class trial for the first chapter. I'm now about halfway through the 3rd chapter. I'm at the point where I know someone is going to get murdered. I'm going to stumble upon their body. There is almost nothing I can talk about in this game because something happens at the crux of the first trial that turns the entire, literally the entire game on its head. And it changes everything that you have seen in the game from that point. Everything is different.
Okay. So Redacted does a Redacted, and then Redacted happens.
It's so crazy and so interesting and nearly impossible that, like, I'm going through that case and being like, this is... I don't know how they pulled it off, but not only is it crazy and it changes everything, but it actually made sense. So that first trial so far was really great. Second trial was also really, really great. And I'm not anywhere. I haven't found the dead body from the 3rd one yet, so I'm not sure how that one's going to turn out. But it's. I recommended. I think it was last week saying like, oh, you could start with 1 or you could start with 3. I'm going to take that back. If you're going to start with the first one, because the improvements they've made on the 3rd one would make it really hard for you to go back to the first 2. Yeah. And I think, almost like what we were talking about with Monster Hunter, like, you sort of know how to play Monster Hunter now because you've played Monster Hunter before. I think Danganronpa V3 is easier to play, and you can... They've introduced so many new systems. Like, they've completely changed the rhythm game in this one 100% for the better.
Yeah.
Because before you had, like, these spinning icons on the bottom, and it was like a half circle. And honestly, a lot of times it was really hard to time and really hard to see. Now it's almost like a true rhythm game where they have a bunch of circles that show up on the screen, has a little bar that fills up, and it has the button you're supposed to press, and you time, and that's like a string of damage you do.
Yeah, so elite beat agents. Exactly,
yeah, and it just functions so much better. They have a driving minigame now, which is really good. They have like a block breaker minigame, which is really fantastic. Like, they took out some of the stuff from the first 2 that didn't work. They kept a lot of the stuff that did work. They polished it where they needed to. Like, there was a mini game in the second one that drove me nuts, where you're basically using a sword to chop the arguments from one person. It's like a one-on-one argument. It was really hard, and it was really punishing, and it didn't feel super fair. And in this one, they completely changed that to where you sort of have to aim a sword across the screen, and you hit X to chop a couple times, but there's no limit to how many times you can chop, unlike the second one. So it's
okay.
It immediately feels more forgiving and more. It feels less like a giant roadblock in the middle of the trial, where before it was like, oh god, now I have to do this. And it's like, all right, cool, I get to slice. So I think. Yeah. I think I would recommend... The first 2 games are really good. I think you can tell that Spike Chunsoft took a lot of money and took a lot of time, invested that into Danganronpa V3. The engine is better. The sound design is better. There's so much more stuff going on in the game. There's a lot more characters. it's a whole brand new mystery. You know, like now that we have the arc from the first couple games solved, you know, everything is different, and it feels really good, and it feels like the evolution of what the first two games were trying to do, and it feels like maybe for the first time they sort of got it right. Not like the last two were bad. It's just sort of like, you know, like when you played The Sims 1 and The Sims 2, where you're like, yeah, these feel really good, and then like whether it was 3 or 4 you clicked with, where you're like, oh, okay, like now they sort of figured the whole thing out. Yeah,
developing the ingredients of the game to finally get it just right, kind of thing.
Yeah. So far it's really great, and I will be able to probably talk about more of it. You know, the school that I'm in, one thing I can talk about that I really enjoyed was part of what they did in the first two games was you'd finish a trial and then they'd say, more of the area is open. And then you would just go over there and there's like a new island or there's a new wing of the school to explore. Part of what I like in this game is, as a new trial finishes, they'll give you a couple of items and say, these items are used on something in the school you're in. Go find it and go use it, and more of the school will open up. So it turns into more of a cool thing where you get this item and it's like, I thought I saw something that sort of looks like that, or I saw something that might slot in there, and you try to remember where it is and you go hunt it down and put that thing in there, and and a whole new wing of this place opened up. So it's, instead of them just being like, here you go, more stuff, it turns into a little bit more stuff to do without it feeling like it's giving it to you, or without it feeling like you're bogged down with it. So
yeah,
it's all little stuff like that, which is really great. So far so good. I'm looking to dig into this. I'm hoping to have it done pretty soon so I can hop into. Next game on my list has to be Assassin's Creed Origins, just because of how much people have been talking so much good stuff about that game. I feel like I finally have to crack it open, and I feel like the polar opposite of a visual novel is an open world Assassin's Creed game. So
yeah,
I might be in the mood for that.
Yeah, give yourself a nice break from it.
Yeah.
To be honest, the worst part about Origins is going to be like the real like eye-opening experience in that game is it's in the side quests. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how much time are you going to put to one side to do the side quests versus the main quest?
Yeah, I mean that's sort of the rough thing is, you know, one of the biggest pieces of advice I've heard about Origins is just like, take your time, don't mainline it. Do all the side quests, do all the extra stuff you can. Try to do as much of the interesting stuff that you see, because all of that stuff really adds to the game. And not that it's the worst part, but maybe it's not the best part, is like the mainline story. Like that stuff is fine, but it's not as good as a lot of the other stuff in the game. So
yeah. I mean, the mainline story's got its highs and it's got its lows. The Sobek mission in particular jumps out to me, which that's not a spoiler because that's like 10 missions.
Right.
But the side quests in that game is where they build that world, and they build it so well.
Yeah, and that's why I don't really want to rush through it. You know, that doesn't, especially for an open world game that has good side quests, you want to try and see as much of that stuff as you can. So
yeah. If you see a sync point, use it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, but that's all I played this week, so let's take a break. Let's have some water again.
I get to run the bathroom and have water and Skittles and do a million other things at once. Not really a million.
All right, while Moon is gone, let's check news stories here. Structoid rates or review Dragon Ball Fighters. Let's see what they gave it. 8.5. Nice. It's a good score. I don't have anything in my RSS feeds. Let's see what Reset Era has. Oh, is PSN still down? Oh yeah. Status.playstation.com. All services are up and running. Hooray! There's a great part where you start reading a thread about PSN being down, and then once it comes up, the thread just devolves into some sort of very angry side question. Now they're just talking about cheating in a relationship. Just bombing out of that one. Games with incomprehensible plots. There we go. Metal Gear 5? That's not really incomprehensible. Final Fantasy 13, sure. Oh, excuse me. Holy crap. I shouldn't have eaten so much before I came up here. Someone says Kingdom Hearts, maybe not incomprehensible, but it's convoluted as hell. I can back that up. I don't think it's incomprehensible. It gets more and more confusing the deeper you go, but... Does anyone actually know what the hell's going on in Armored Core games? No, man.
No.
Silent Hill 1.
Want to say hello?
Destiny 1.
Hello.
Hi, cute kitten.
Who's that?
Gotta go.
No, go away. Go on.
Someone puts a bunch of Sonic games. Hi.
Hi.
Nice to have a visit from the kitten, of course.
Yep. Waiting for me outside. As always.
Just like sleeping outside of the door.
Yep. One sec. Boosh. Oh. I'm so old.
Ditto. Alright, I'm ready to knock the rest of this out whenever you are.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. No. There. That's what I wanted. Haha.
Ticky tappy typey.
Ticky tap 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 tick tick tick.
Dimebag says, third time I heard Silent Hill today and I'm getting a tattoo of Silent Hill. Hey. That's all, it's all good vibes for your tattoo.
Yep. Yeah, what are you getting? Please tell me you're not getting a, like, pyramid head.
That'd be great. Well, what's your big tattoo? Oh, just a pyramid head.
That would be the weirdest one.
Yeah.
Come on. There we go. That's the one I wanted.
Let's see if there's any other threads here that are interesting.
No will be an answer to that.
Mass Effect 2 is now 8 years old.
Mass Effect 2 is 8.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
That is, that's a little rough. Sea of Thieves closed beta, which I wish I was playing. That game seems really great. Vita 3K, an open source Vita emulator for PC. Interesting. Capable of running homebrew already, which is good.
My big... well... we had really, really juicy Skittles there. Yeah. I'm tasting the rainbow and slobbering water all over myself.
Yeah. Hey there, James M on YouTube. How's it going?
Bonjour. See, here's... for me, it's what you call it. It's the biggest disappointment for me that Parasite Eve hasn't been rebooted yet.
Yeah, you know, I was just looking at a thread here when you were off screen about like games with the most incomprehensible plot, and someone kept putting Parasite Eve: The Third Birthday. I was thinking, like, man, that's such a shame that we haven't gotten.
The third didn't even come out over here, I don't think.
Oh, in Europe?
Or America did it.
It did, yeah. It was on PSP. Like, that's how long ago it's been. It's a shame, because I think you could probably reboot that into a cool, character-driven, third-person action game. You know, like, with some RPG elements, but maybe less focused on the RPG nowadays. And people still love that character, so just tell new stories with her.
Yeah. That, for me, like, that game was incredible because it did a Dead Space 1 and 2 before Dead Space 1 and 2. Where Parasite Eve 1 was very much old school RPG mixed with a little bit of shooting.
Yep.
Whereas 2 was Resident Evil. It was Resident Evil tank controls, yes, but
yeah,
it had the RPG elements still, but it just changed the nature of the game by the second one.
Yeah. Those are good games. Man.
Yeah.
Maybe. And then Square would probably put Lightning in it too. So, since they're in love with Lightning right now.
Yeah, they would. And then whoever that guy is in the AC Origins DLC, which...
Oh, one of the Final Fantasy 15 characters, I think.
Yeah, just...
Prompto, probably.
I don't know, he had swords.
Don't they all?
Yes, they all do.
I wonder if it was the main character, the guy with, like, 15 swords.
Yes, it was.
What's his name?
Because he made 15 swords appear in front of him and then grabbed one of them.
That's cool. What's his name? I don't remember, and I'm trying to remember without looking it up. Noctis. That's his name. Great Final Fantasy name.
The best Final Fantasy name is Squall, because that's the best Final Fantasy game.
Squall Leonhardt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will agree with you. 8 is one of the best. 8 is one of the best Final Fantasy games, and I still find it staggering that so many people want to crap on that game when it is so easy to find a platform to play it on and try it.
Yeah.
It is not as incomprehensible as people think it is. The draw system is not bad. They explain everything. They explain it really well. And
the main character doesn't go into a coma halfway through the game?
Well, he does for a little bit. Not like 7 though, where he's wheelchair bound.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 7 is a weird game.
I'm sorry, but the only reason people like 7 was Sephiroth is probably the greatest video game villain ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are arguments to be made for other people, but he is probably the greatest villain ever. Ares dies, and Vincent. I think that's the only reason people like 7.
Yeah, I think 7 is the same thing as like GTA 3 and Halo and all these games. They were really the right game at the right time. Like Final Fantasy 7 came out on... Here it came out on 3 discs?
Yes, it was, because 8 was 4.
Yeah, in Japan they got a re-release that was 4 discs for 7. And it just, like, for some reason the CG was at, like, CG cutscenes was at the height. You know, there were RPGs that were saying, like, we have 2 hours of cutscenes, and, like, that was a selling point for that time. And it just, graphically and music and storyline, it hit at the right time, and man, I will always say it was great because it got a lot more people into RPGs.
Yeah.
But it's not that great because it's not that great of a game at the end of the day. It's good, but it's not... I don't think it's one of the best of all time.
No.
I don't even think it's in the top half of Final Fantasy games.
Well, we can't all, you know, play X2 or whatever it was with dancing dress spheres.
So good.
It's so good. It's so good and so terrible.
It's so good. Like, the thing that I always tell people when they play 10-2 is it's campy. Like, don't go in for a super serious story. Like, this is a game where you're just going to have fun. Yeah, like, it's not the second half of 6. You know, like, think more like Final Fantasy 5 and less like 7. Think more of 7's mini-games and not Sephiroth burning down Nibelheim.
Oh, still the greatest, still in my opinion, greatest villain ever. And he has the best villain music too.
Yep.
Which, not gonna lie, that's why I loved Kingdom Hearts, was because when you fought Sephiroth, it played a remix version of the Sephiroth theme tune with orchestra music tied into it as well. It was the best part of Kingdom Hearts, was fighting Sephiroth. Not seeing Cloud, it was fighting Sephiroth.
That was a hard boss fight too, that was great.
Oh yeah, he was like the raid boss at the end of the game. Like, he was an additional extra boss. But anyway, yes, second half of the show, let's go.
Alright, let's start in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of January 29th, 2018. Dissidia Final Fantasy NT comes out for PS4. I'm really disappointed in this because I liked the first 2 games on PSP, the first 2 Dissidia games, because they had, especially the first one, had a really cool story mode. It was almost like the old X-Men What If comics, where it's like, what if the Onion Knight fought, you know, Sephiroth, and it's like, that would be pretty cool, and then you get to do that. And it was kind of neat to see all the Final Fantasy heroes and villains fight off. This one, as far as I've seen, and I have not, in any of the coverage I've seen, I haven't seen that it has a single player. It's mostly just 3-on-3, mainly focused on the online stuff.
Oh, great.
Which is fine. I mean, it looks like it's really well done. It has a lot of characters. It's going to have a lot of DLC characters coming out. But for me, it's the multiplayer and the 3-on-3 isn't where it's at for me. It's that cool what if storyline. So
yeah, I've always been a fan of the alternate universe stuff. Like,
yeah,
I love whatever it is, comics, books, movies. A good alternative history timeline is always amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like, whatever that TV show is that I can't remember the name of now, that's basically the Wolfenstein TV show.
Man in the High Castle?
That's the one.
Yeah. There's a Philip K. Dick book, right?
I think so, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm a little bummed, but, I mean, I know this started out as an arcade game, so I don't know how much time they wanted to invest in putting into a single-player thing in this one, so... And last but not least, EA Sports UFC 3 coming out for PS4 and Xbox One.
I own the second one and I still haven't even booted it up once, so I guess I'll be ignoring this one. And probably the second one as well.
Probably. I mean, that's the hard part about UFC is, like, either you care about it a lot or you don't care about it at all.
The only thing I care about it is punching someone in the face, seeing the knocked out animation as they go down in weird ways.
Yeah.
And possibly seeing a gum shield flying out.
Yeah.
Like when you see someone and all of a sudden they're just like,
yeah, and then just
and full of funny faces and fall over. Yeah. It's not funny when it's a real person. I actually can't watch UFC because of that reason. But seeing it in a video game is fine.
Yeah. Especially with ragdoll physics, which is like, oh, that guy, I knocked him out, now he's standing straight up on his head. This is awesome.
Yep.
Speaking of awesome, let's move on to our news stories. Microsoft has a huge announcement for Game Pass. 2 big features. One is all first-party exclusives, sort of from now going forward, are going to be included day 1 with your Game Pass.
And guess who is getting Xbox Game Pass? Because I need more games to play.
Yeah, I got into some discussions with people online saying, like, I saw a lot of people saying, like, well, this doesn't really matter. It's like, that might not necessarily matter now, but wait until E3 this year comes out, and it's like, alright, all these cool Xbox One exclusives, they're also included in your Game Pass, and you can just download them day 1, and you're just paying $10 a month.
Yep.
That, to me, is a pretty big game changer, and I think for someone like me that has an okay amount of time and virtually zero money, $10 really a month for Game Pass is really good. If you know, they're saying Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, and
State of Decay 2. Yeah,
State of Decay 2 are like the big 3 they're leading off with. If I can play Crackdown 3 for $10, you know, even if I spend 2 months on it, $20 is pretty great.
Yep. Well, that's actually the discussion I had with my wife, where, like, when they announced it, I got a text message off her while I was in work. And we talked about it. I was like, okay, Sea of Thieves, $60. Crackdown 3, $60. 2 games we were going to be getting this year, regardless.
Yep.
That's $120. That's Game Pass for a year.
Yeah, and one of the big things I was pushing back on people with is especially Sea of Thieves, because for a lot of people, I'm assuming it's going to have an open beta. At some point, Rare and Microsoft will really want to do that. But if you can tell your friends, like, all right, the 4 of us are going to spend $10 and we're going to try this thing. We're going to try it for a couple of weekends, see if we like it. You can't object to $10. Somebody can easily object to, like, all right, all 4 of us are going to spend $60 a piece. Let's get online. You know, it's a much easier to sell to say, hey, here, pop up the $10 and you get all of these other games too, and then you get these cool new ones. And then, like I was saying, should be a really big thing that they're gonna sell at E3, where it's like, all these games we just talked about, they're exclusives. Day 1, Game Pass, $10 a month.
I like not to jump sections a little bit, but it's actually a question that we were asked. I think this means Microsoft have got to hit it hard with announcements at E3. Like, they have to come out and they have to bomb out with a whole bunch of exclusives. They have to say, oh, like, give me 10 games that are early next year, the year after, whatever it is. 10 games, here you go, get in now, kind of thing. Like, they have to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, for me and my wife, this is a no-brainer because we buy everything digitally anyway, so part of the whole library sharing that we do. So this is a no-brainer to us. I'm going to sign up for it. Like, she takes Netflix. I take the WWE Network.
Right.
So I have cancelled my WWE Network now because the Royal Rumble is tonight. So that's the last thing I want to watch this year.
Right.
Until maybe WrestleMania, but that's $12 a month I don't have to spend, and I can spend on Game Pass.
Yeah. The other half of this this thing too is they're extending Game Pass to PC as well.
Nice.
So that's, I mean, for your $10 a month, you're getting a platform like Forza Horizon 3 on PC. Looks really great. I'm assuming they're gonna announce more of this stuff for PC, and I think that's just a really great deal. I think.
And I think they also, what you call it? They also, I think anything that's in the Game Pass library, because my wife is a notorious researcher when it comes to stuff like this. You get 30 days notice before they leave the Game Pass library, and you get 20% discount on the game should you wish to buy it if you're a member of the Game Pass.
That's right. Yeah.
So, what's this game I've put 100 hours into and want to put 100 more in is leaving in 30 days. 20% discount. That's not too bad at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like a good plan. And I know a lot of people want to crap on the Xbox One because, you know, the lack of exclusives, and 2017 wasn't really great for their catalog overall, but it's not that bad.
No.
I mean, it's not like, you know, looking back on the PS3 and it's like, not a lot of stuff here, guys, you know, but it's a good deal.
Yeah.
Next news story, Epic is closing Paragon in April. They are citing a lack of, quote, a clear path to grow Paragon into a MOBA that retains enough players to be sustainable, end quote, which is a really good, honest piece of feedback, which is like, we can't make it popular, so it's gotta go.
Yeah. To be honest, that is how you do PR, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can either obfuscate the reason why by coming out with one sentence with random stuff, like you're refocusing your priorities. Mm-hmm. You can give too much information away, the way EA did with their closure of Visceral, right. Or you can just tell the truth in a one simple, succinct sentence. This ain't good enough to hang with the big boys. We're closing it.
Yeah, and I mean, I think when you especially look at how popular Fortnite has been, you put the time and money and the team members into Fortnite, you get that investment back. You put that in a Paragon, and like they're saying, more people don't play it. Yeah. And I think the even better thing is they're offering refunds for every purchase on any platform. And what's great is Epic themselves are offering the refunds and not platform holders. So it's not like, if you want the refund, go bother Microsoft or go bother Sony, and they don't care. They don't want to do refunds. But I think they handled this really well. You know, they came out and they're being honest about why they're shutting down April 26th. So there's 3 months to sort of squeeze however much left you want out of that, and then, you get your money back for stuff you bought.
In a world full of incredibly crappy corporations, this corporation just nailed it on the head how you close one of these down.
Yep. And then, like, if you want to go play something else fun that they made, go play Fortnite.
Yep.
The Battle Royale stuff is free, so you don't even have to invest for some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of not needing investment, the Microsoft Games with Gold have been announced for February. And,
of course.
Two big ones here. Shadow Warrior is going to be available for the full month of February for Xbox One. We talked about that on Game Club last year, so I think certainly not a 10 out of 10 game, but I think that's a game to check out. I think free is a really good price for any game to check out.
Yep.
And then the thing that a lot of people have been excited about, myself very much included, February 1st through 15th, Split Second joins backwards compatibility, and it is free. This game is so good. You're looking for a really solid, fun, bombastic racing game. Split Second is really good.
Yeah, and I mean, if you don't do the multiplayer stuff, it's maybe 10 hours, and that is 10 hours well spent.
Yep. It's just a good ride.
Yeah.
Next news story here, Dead Cells finally announced for PS4, Switch, and Xbox One.
I don't even know what this is.
Okay, so it's been in early access on Steam for a long time, and the feedback has been it's sort of a combination roguelike Metroidvania, and apparently it's so well polished that when it entered early access, a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's done, right?" And they're like, "No, we got a lot left to go." And it's like, "Oh, well, that's really good." So,
okay.
Apparently, this is like one of those indie games that you really, really need to play, and I've been waiting for an announcement for it to come to consoles, and it seems like it's going to be coming later this year. And they say ideally alongside the final PC version.
That's good.
So I really want to play this because that's sort of a mashup of a lot of genres I like, and everybody who plays it says it's really good, and it's in a great state even in early access.
So the early access release and it being almost finished, did Edmund make this by any chance?
No, it's a company called Motion Twin.
Okay.
Yeah, thankfully not. No Nicholas on this one, so it's gonna come out. Hey-o. And our last news story here, a report from Jason Schreier over at Kotaku has said that BioWare's Anthem is delayed until 2019 as the studio sort of doubles down on making Anthem a hit. One of a depressing number of people are not reading this article. The person from BioWare said, like, yeah, you know, EA sort of put 2018 on that original trailer, and that was never going to happen, so 2019 is a much more accurate timeline for that game to come out. But it's... I think the thing that's sobering is that... Here's the quote from quote, "There's a belief that if Anthem doesn't live up to EA's expectations, BioWare will look very different in the future." End quote. They're also talking about in that article about they have recently rebooted the next Dragon Age game. You know, it sounds like development was not going where it needed to go, so let's just hit the reboot button, which...
Well, it also sounds like EA did to that game exactly what they did to Visceral, where it's like, here you go, make a game, oh, by the way, 90% of you are working on Hardline over here, which is going to come out soon.
Right.
So, if they've got this many studios working on this many projects and not a single studio can get one finished because you keep dragging them off to finish a different project.
Right.
Less projects, or more studios... Pretty much the exact opposite of what EA has been doing so far.
Well, and it seems too like the trouble with the new Dragon Age is it seems like EA is, let's say, encouraging BioWare to put more social and online features in the game, which gives me let's say, pause, because that's the exact opposite of what Dragon Age is. Dragon Age is your single-player offline RPG. Like,
yep.
Inquisition sort of stumbled a lot because it focused too much on making these small open areas as opposed to maybe some tighter environments. And I think continuing to move that direction is not... Dragon Age 1 is celebrated for a lot of really good reasons.
Yeah.
And moving further away from that makes sense, but it's not going to help you grow that player base.
No. And then you take a look at something like The Witcher 3, which was widely regarded as potentially Game of the Year, if not Game of the Year, when that game came out.
Yep.
That game is still talked about to this day as one of the greatest RPGs that have been released in the modern era.
Yep.
And how much online and social interactivity has that got?
0.
Exactly.
Well,
so
another great reason about Witcher 3 is they figured out how to make the open world not boring.
Yeah.
And a lot of games just can't figure out how to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I understand that a company, they need to make money. That's why you're in business. That's the way this industry has always been, is as a business.
Yeah.
But the difference is back even just 5-6 years ago, it seems like artists and visionaries had the artistry and vision to get and execute on what they wanted to with minimal corporate interference.
Right.
Whereas now, because it's such a profitable business, thank you Overwatch, thank you PUBG, thank you everything else that has embraced and made a lot of money with this microtransaction loot box stuff. Everybody wants a piece of that pie, and it's the same thing that it's going to be again. They will get milked until it's dead, and then all of those indie and iOS games and small studios who do these things correctly will be punished going forwards, because nobody's going to support those studios when the big ones mess it up like EA have been.
Well, and I think the thing, we've been talking about Anthem for a little bit here recently, and I think the thing to be really careful about Anthem too is EA needs to be careful of not, churning the hype machine up like Destiny 1 was.
Oh, yeah.
Because even if Anthem is really good and you hype it too much, it's not going to live up to expectations.
Dragon Age 2 is the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. They are in the worst position they could be in for this game. For Anthem, they are in a no-win situation. They can not promote it and see how it does. They can promote the hell out of it and see how it does. They can include this social stuff, not include this social stuff, put loot boxes in, not put loot boxes in. They are not going to win this fight. I'm not saying the game is going to be bad. I'm not saying the game is going to be doomed. I'm saying there is nothing EA can do in this situation that will be viewed as the correct thing to do by everybody. They've put themselves there, which is the funny thing about it. It's their fault.
I think the only thing that they can do that is largely seen as the correct thing to do is do what Ubisoft has been doing with The Division and Rainbow Six Siege. Siege a little bit, maybe less because of some of the confusing news stories from this week, but like, just stick with your game. Like, if Anthem isn't a hit out of the gate, that's fine. These games can have a really long tail on them, but you just need to stick with them, and you just need to keep working on making them better. And you might not make $50 million your first month, but you might make $45 million over the first 2 years if you stick with it.
Yeah, but
it just the stock market, stock shareholders don't want to hear that.
Yeah, they don't. They want to know what my red line going up is going to do. How high is that red line going to go?
Right.
Which, pro tip, it will go a lot higher if you don't alienate your entire fan base with this kind of stuff. They've essentially killed in one game because they didn't give it the time it needed, because they didn't develop it well. They killed a franchise which is highly regarded as the greatest franchise of last generation and the best new IP in decades.
Yeah.
How can you do that to a franchise like Mass Effect when that game was beloved by everybody who played them?
Yeah.
They just put something out that wasn't ready.
Yeah, I mean that it just wasn't done. Alright, but before we're done with this episode, let's move on to a couple questions we have from T-Bomb Rocks here in Discord. With Microsoft added every Xbox Studio game in the Game Pass service day and date, what do you feel the end game is? For me, I think it's making the brand Xbox a complete service versus a console name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't actually thought about that, but that is a really interesting proposition of saying, like, hey man, if you want to, you know, I certainly don't want to coin this, and I sincerely hope I don't, but like, as opposed to games as a service, sort of console as a service, you know, where the Phantom was supposed to be 10, 15 years ago, you know, if Game Pass really does take off, then, you know, you can make the case for saying, you know, $10 a month and you can play everything on the platform, and it's not like the hot garbage that PlayStation Now still is. It's not, well, we're going to stream it and all this. You just download the game, put it in your hard drive.
I've got to, I can't help but wonder, how many people did Phil Spencer have to punch in the face to get that authorized?
Yeah.
Like, how many people did he have to go and sit down with meetings for 4 hours about how they're going to lose so much money based on making this one decision?
Right, but they could spend $60 on it, but it's just like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to smack you around gently and explain to you how this makes us more money over the long term.
Yeah.
And $10, honestly, $10 a month is a really great price. Do you have to have Xbox Live as well, or can you just do Game Pass?
I don't know if you need to have gold. You definitely do for multiplayer, but it's a separate membership thing on my screen, and it pops up when I wasn't a gold member, so I can only assume you don't, but don't hold me to my word on that.
That would be such a great price if you don't need gold alongside it. $10 a month to just play a bunch of games. And if you don't have gold, you know, play the single player stuff or play the offline stuff, and that's fine. Such a good deal. And this is one thing, like Nintendo Labo from last week, where people are like poo-pooing it out of hand. It's like, just think about it for a couple of minutes. Even if it's not for you, even if you say like, well, I like buying discs, so I don't think Game Pass is for me. That's fine. Don't be like, well, I want to buy my games. This is dumb. It's just like, that's not...
Look at it another way. This will eventually put GameStop out of business.
Sure. This can put GameFly out of business too.
The more people you have who, like Abby from Giant Bomb is a prime example of this. Before she started at Giant Bomb, she was a buy it, complete it, trade it in, buy it, complete it, trade it in. Mm-hmm. And she always went used, and she always did that whole trade-in deal. How many people are going to sit there and think, wait, I can just spend $10 and here's 150 games I can play, and by the time I'm done with 10 of them, there's going to be another maybe 5 on the list.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like this is going to make GameStop just go, and then the second GameStop go, digital prices come down.
Yep.
You know, you'll still get your physical copies, you'll still be able to buy them from Amazon, because Amazon don't care if Microsoft are undercutting them by $10, because they'll still get people buying their stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's places like GameStop are the reason why digital sales are so rare and so expensive comparison to the discs. Nintendo aside, but that's a whole cartridge manufacturing thing.
Yeah, that's a whole separate problem.
Yeah, but stuff like this can give kids a chance to play so much more.
Yeah.
Think of your kid, you give them $20 a month for spending money, or $10 a week or whatever, and they say to you, take that $10 for this week, put it on Game Pass, and just keep doing that every second week of the month of my pocket money or my spending money, and then I've got this constant access to this library of games. That's a game changer for kids, for students, for people who are broke. Like,
well, potentially a whole household too if you do game sharing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's a lot like where we got with Netflix, where it's like, why would I spend $20 on a Blu-ray when I can, you know, originally just ship a disc to my house and now just stream a movie from the internet, you know? Unfortunately, game streaming isn't really there. Otherwise, I'm sure Microsoft would have favored that. But, you know, it seems like such a good deal. So.
Like, I'll be honest, like, that's I think that's something if they're gonna talk about this stuff at E3, bring out a kid. Bring out Phil. I'm sure you've got nephews and nieces. Bring out your nephew. Stand him right next to you. Say, "This is Bob. He's my nephew. He gets $5 a week from his parents for pocket money for allowance. He spends 2 weeks of that and gets access to 150 games on his Xbox.
Right.
His parents don't need to go and, buy these games for him. They don't need to have the awkward conversation with the people at the store to figure out what the game is he wants, whether or not it's age appropriate. He has the parental controls. Yeah. He has the list. He can just download what is the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that you actually bring up a good point with Xbox's parental controls too. Like, it's like firing up Netflix for kids. It's like, everything on there is going to be appropriate, so you have your kid make sure they can't play M or T games on the Xbox One, and then go crazy. All of these games that you see here are things you can just download and play.
Yeah, we have my brother-in-law's got an account on our systems, and we have him hard locked down to a kid's account. He can't buy anything. He can't play anything that's over a certain rating without us logging in at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, it works out really nicely.
Man. And his other question here is, now that we're starting to see each of the big three's plans for the coming year, what do you expect to see from each company at E3? I think we just mostly talked about Microsoft over this whole episode, which is, hey, here's a bunch of games.
Yeah. If I'm honest, based on the way Sony's been acting, I'm expecting Sony hubris to raise its head again.
Yeah, I sort of expect Sony to have kind of a quiet E3 because 2017 was so packed full of stuff. They'll probably push God of War because it's going to come out in April. So they'll probably push either some DLC or they'll say, like, hey, don't forget God of War is still really great, go play that. But I expect them to not ship a ton of stuff in 2018. And I'm really hoping they don't let their hubris push it. They'll show stuff like Days Gone and some of the other, like, sort of second-tier stuff. Not that they're going to be bad, but, like, it's not their mainline stuff. They'll probably push a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm expecting. They'll push the same things they always push. They will, unfortunately, continue to ignore the indies, despite such a strong showing from them at the start of the generation. But like
Microsoft will probably show some indie stuff because of how well Cuphead did for them. Yeah,
and I've heard a fair few times now that there's some scuttlebutt that Microsoft are doing some really high-end deals with indies. So see what rolls out of that hornet's nest of rumors.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be Sony's down year. They're going to push VR probably too much. Like, for one last push, they're probably going to focus on it too much, and it's just going to be the down part of the conference.
Yeah. Well, they've got that new headset as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I don't know what's different with it, though.
I don't know either. It fixes stuff which I think should have been fixed in 1.0, but well.
Yeah, I think they're going to just sort of, like they did last year, they're going to come out, they're going to show a whole bunch of games, and they're going to leave. And I think Microsoft's going to be the one to watch with hopefully pushing some late 2018, early 2019 stuff, pushing Game Pass, pushing some PC stuff. They're obviously going to push the X and a lot of 4K HDR stuff. That stuff has been really popular for them. There's no way to show that on stream, though. So
no, there isn't, unfortunately.
To be the hard way of doing things. And I think Nintendo at E3 isn't really around. I think this is they're going to get smaller yet again this year. They'll probably do maybe another small direct, but they don't need to do a lot.
No,
the Switch
they don't.
Is doing really well.
Their stuff sells, and it sells for the reasons Nintendo also always sells, because of Nintendo stuff.
And third parties and indies can carry that torch. Yeah.
Well, hopefully if they haven't swamped their own marketplace by then.
Yeah, man, they're getting close to doing that.
Yep.
It would be really nice if Nintendo would put a little bit more quality control into what gets on the store. Like, I know ratings are going to filter that stuff down and yada yada yada, but you shouldn't let stuff that isn't up to a quality level get on there. And I'm not even talking about, like, oh, somebody put an indie game, I don't like Binding of Isaac, how'd that get on the Switch? I'm talking about, like, stuff that's ported straight over from a smartphone and doesn't really work. That's the the sort of stuff.
Like the stuff which is ported straight over from a smartphone and has microtransactions.
Yeah.
And is $5 more expensive than it was on the phone because it was free on the phone.
And stuff you used to see on like Steam Greenlight.
Yeah.
That sort of stuff, you know. Alright, well that's our episode this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. The links to everything is on the right-hand side of the page, including the Discord server, which you should really join, especially if you're playing. The Marvel Puzzle Quest channel is always hopping. The Monster Hunter one is always hopping. We got a couple peeps, dedicated peeps in the Brave Exvius one. There's another one that I'm forgetting. No, maybe that's just the 3 of them now. But we got a bunch of peeps in there always chatting about stuff. Come join it. Game Club game for this month is The Mummy Demastered. As we talked about at the beginning, 6 hours. That's not so bad.
That's not bad.
It's a way forward game, so you know it looks and sounds good and plays really great. So I think we got 3 more weeks left on that.
Yep.
Patreon. Patreon.com/E1M1. Get some cool behind-the-scenes stuff for your money. Help support, cover the costs for this show. This show isn't cheap to run. None of these shows are cheap to run. You can get the whole cost breakdown on the page if you're ever been curious. But you can get some cool behind-the-scenes stuff, including hanging out with me while I edit, and we can chat Saturday nights. It's a little late. I'm sorry.
It's Sunday nights, not Saturday nights.
Boy, I didn't mention this at the beginning of the show, but I'm a little under the weather today. So yes, it is Sunday nights, not Saturday nights. The day where we are recording. And watch us live, Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, whatever Hitbox is called now. We're on a whole bunch of places.
Who knows?
If there's somewhere...
Stream Stars.
That's right. I fixed our Stitcher feed. Thank you so much for pointing that out. I don't remember who pointed that out to me. I'm sorry. My brain is just not here this week. But if there's anywhere we're not that you want to see us, just drop me a message. It's pretty easy to get us on a lot of these places. Except still Spotify. Still having trouble doing that. So, someday. But thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you all next week.
See ya.
I just realized we just hit the 2-hour mark.
Yep.
Yikes.
I noticed that too. Also, I'm so glad I finally have Steam installed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now I just need to actually start installing games to it.
Yeah. Alright, what titles do you have?
One from the chat, The Onion Knight, because The Onion Knight is a cool phrase.
That's his name from Final Fantasy 3. He's the
I don't know why I haven't played 3.
3 is really, really good all the way up until the final dungeon, and then is impossible. It is so hard. It's so weird.
Okay. Don't play 3. Okay, anyway, other titles. For reasons I don't know why, The Monster in the Room, Battle Bagpipes, Drive the Line, and Random Goob number 3.
Battle Bagpipes is good. I didn't write that down. I have From Dumbest to Not Dumbest, which I think is a really great term. One I said that I don't know if you caught was Llama Platinum.
I did not catch that.
The one of the Fortnite coins. The Monster in the Room, Journey Through the Monster Hunter World, and Battle Bagpipes.
Also, Dimebag in chat points out Stream Stars.
Stream Stars. That's a good one. I kind of like Battle Bagpipes.
Me too, because they're so dumb. Like, I'm not kidding, they are so dumb, but so great at the same time.
It's a good reason why I love Monster Hunter, is because like it's this challenging game where you and your friends are taking down giant fire-breathing monsters, but at the same time your Palico doesn't like water, so it has a raft.
It has a yellow inflatable life dinghy that it pulls out of the air.
Is its little guitar it's carrying around? Like,
yep.
Come on, man, that's so cute.
I'm not gonna lie as well. The armor for the Palicos, like, because you unlock new armor every time you kill a monster. Like, you unlock new classifications of armor, and you can go through and preview them. And Jess's Sherlock has got a crown, like a rock crown on from one monster we killed, and a white fur coat. on from a different monster we killed, so he looks like an asshole king.
Great.
And that's a swear word.
Yeah.
At 2:09:31.
2:09:31.
Approximately. Sorry.
That's alright. Alright, we'll go with Battle Bagpipes, because I feel like we can't not go with it.
Sounds good to me.
Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 536 for January 26th, 2018. Battle Bagpipes.
Smash and toot!
Alright, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us live. It's always so nice to see all of you here week after week, and I hope we will see you next week. Bye.
See you guys.